Take it away.
All right. Hey, and welcome back, my friends. I am here with my two co-hosts, Jeremy and Derek. Tell everyone who you are. Jeremy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy Van Word. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I work with individuals. I specialize in ADHD. I do coaching. I do retreats with psychedelic medicine. I'm an author and the podcast host of the Mindful Mutiny podcast. Check it out.
And I am Derek. I'm the host of the Culture Podcast. I typically have people on and do long-form conversations about people that have survived from a high control group or a cult. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you both. You both bring a very different set of values and experiences that I really appreciate having. So we've got a humdinger for tonight. We are going to dealing with complicated extended families, boundaries, values, money, and blind spots. And we were lucky enough to have some real good questions come in this evening as well. Our first one comes from Chris in Atlanta. My wife's parents helped us out with the down payment on our house last year, which we're incredibly grateful for. But now my mother-in-law feels entitled to show up unannounced whenever she wants. And even though she's critiquing how we're remodeling my place, my wife feels guilty bringing it up because of the money, but it's putting a massive strain on our marriage. How do we set a boundary when we feel financially obligated? This is a good one. I have to tell you, very often in my world as a realtor, this is something that comes up. You know, they'll say, oh, mom or dad is going to, gift us the funds to help us with the down payment. And what starts the trajectory from that point in time is mom and dad are incredibly involved in what the purchase price is, what the tile looks like, what work is going to be done to the home. And 9 times out of 10, mom or dad kill the deal. So the fact that they even made it through, props to you, Chris, that you guys made it through. But as far as establishing a boundary, this one sounds like you really need to just establish a boundary that is separate from that financial piece that mom came in with. Am I wrong? What do you guys think?
Well, real quick, but before anything else happens, I want to say I've had a little bit of personal experience with this. In my 20s, early in a marriage, my wife's grandmother paid for a lot. So it's actually very similar. And the very first thing I thought of is she got to make all the choices about the furniture in the house because she put a down payment on the house and wanted to help her granddaughter with the house and do all these things. And so we had all this really high-end Copenhagen furniture from Denmark that was in a showroom. You couldn't sit on it. And I really hated all of it, and there was nothing I could do or say at the time because I was not equipped at that time in my early 20s to have the conversation. So I just want to get that out that I have semi-lived this. Great question.
Well, now, given that experience, what would you now do about that? With the experiences that you've had now, you have a lot more life experience. You have a lot more coaching experience. What would you say to this now?
I would set a boundary and I would say, listen, we are very, very grateful for you to provide financially for this down payment or to help with the remodel or anything of that nature. But you have to understand that this is going to be our living space. And so you have to respect that we're going to want to decorate it the way that we want to. If that means that you don't want to now provide financially, then we have to accept that fate because I want to live in my own space. So I don't want you to dangle money over me and kind of put me in a position where I have to feel very entitled to you moving forward. I would feel comfortable going we'll figure out another way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I just have to say this is such a boomer problem. And I see this. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's such a boomer problem because you have the boomer parents, grandparents that obviously want the best for their kids. They also have the resources to be able to share in this. And the rookie mistake that young couples make is they are so excited to accept the money. They want the house that they don't sit down and have the practical conversation of how does this create a power differential? How is this the same as the boss who takes advantage of the secretary? Because there is a power differential here. And if it's not addressed beforehand, it's very difficult to come after the fact and address the issue, because then it feels like ungratefulness. It's also the responsibility of the child whose parents it is that are providing the resources to sit down with their parents and say, I cannot tell you how much we appreciate this and how much this is so important for us in starting a family. And can we talk about how this works on a practical level? Because after the fact, it feels like, oh, you're changing the rules. You don't appreciate what we give you. We never talked about this. I don't feel validated and loved. And boomers have a certain inability to handle frustration. And so when they don't get talked to in a way that feels appreciative, they tend to kind of lash out a bit. And so I would say that you've got to have this conversation ahead of time, because it's a hell of a lot more complicated to have it afterwards. It's got to be the child whose parents it is. And afterwards, you can have the conversation, but it's got to come from a very humble place.
Well, if this is how it starts, and you don't like take a step up and kind of set your boundary and state your position, it'll just keep going. It'll just keep going, and it'll start festering, and maybe it will bring problems in the relationship because you're complaining to your partner about it, and they don't know what to do, and it just creates more and more of a thing. It's just like you have to like set the standard right away. Like it's like they're mutually like linked. Like we're very appreciative, but we also don't want it to be this way. Like this is our home. And I think a lot of people lose the art of like empathy and understanding and putting yourself in other people's shoes. Imagine grandparents as you got older and we needed to step into your home and start managing your home. If we just came in and decided, I'm going to remodel this. I'm going to change your home. I'm going to change your furniture. I really like having an arch here, or tearing down this wall, take this painting off the wall. Imagine how you would feel if I did that to your space. Why can't you see that would be something that would be a problem for me in my space? You know what I mean? Like I'm constantly baffled that people don't have that lack of awareness.
But I think Jeremy's point, like I didn't consider, you're right. This is sort of a generational thing. And when you have somebody who's not used to working out all their feelings, as I feel like, we were kind of brought up in this generation, we're like, we just talk about everything. And I mean, especially in my adult life, like my kids know nothing other. There's no secrets. There's a problem, family meeting. Like that's how we deal with it right away. It's dealt with. Like, here's my feelings. And if everyone knows how I feel, we can deal with it together. And I think you're right. There's a generational piece to this that I didn't think about until you said it that way.
Yeah, it's absolutely the case.
Yeah,
and this is usually how it happens. It's the boomer parents that tend to really enjoy this kind of like power over the dynamic, and so it does become more difficult after the fact, because you do owe them appreciation. There is respect to be given for such a generous gift, but there's also a sense of not really knowing how to assert your space after the fact. And so it's worth a conversation ahead of time.
Do you deal with this often in your practice where couples come in with a problem like this?
Yes, I deal with this often. And there can also be a cultural component to this, particularly with couples that come from different cultures. There's different expectations about access to the home. There's one couple that I've worked with where the white wife still has a hard time 20 years in dealing with the fact that her crockery comes and goes, and that the family comes in with a piece of crockery and leaves with a different piece of crockery. And so there's all of this kitchenware that's just going between homes, and she's tried to talk to her husband about this, but the husband goes, "What's a pot? It's a crock pot. Like what? I don't understand what the difference is." And she goes, "I bought this at Crate and Barrel. It's like really nice stuff, and it keeps disappearing." And he doesn't see what the issue is because she gets this kind of like Target crockware and her nice stuff is gone. And he's having a hard time with what's the big deal? We don't want to break up a family over kitchenware. What's the deal? And there's a cultural component to these things sometimes. And so that can make it even more difficult because there can be a sense of disrespect when it's not that at all.
I'm actually more curious if you're getting bonus points if you said you're going to try to say crockery multiple times.
I'm very proud of myself. I was able to say it several times.
Producer, we should definitely have that on this show. We need a word of the day.
I was teaching a marching band one time, and the staff dared me to talk to the kids and use the term bodacious seriously in the way that I was talking to them and see if the kids would laugh, and I was able to pull it off.
Nice. Okay, so this is a thing. So I may have caught something. You and your wife have something on the back end.
I love it.
That is a good bring up though. Like cultural expectations. You know, there are definitely communities and families that they're like, this is just how it is. What do you mean? They have no awareness to the fact that a different culture, this is not how it is at all. And I imagine that can be a challenge if it's a mixed cultural family for sure. And that would definitely need more communication in order to get in front of it for sure.
Yeah, I would only imagine. I think I'm so easygoing about everything, and I'm also not married. So I think I had a conversation on my way over this evening with a married friend of mine. She was saying, my husband's not being supportive about this or about that. What do you think? And I said, it's been so long since I've had a husband. I can't relate. I really can't relate to what you're going through right now. Like, it's
a bunch of malarkey. That's what it is.
She
malarkey.
Real issues and a husband that's usually really supportive. And I thought, this is our bonus word now. I thought, it changes. My perspective has changed so much because I haven't been married for going on 6 years. And I was in a very different dynamic previously, but I've been out of that dynamic for so long that, as an example with family holidays, like my brothers said, "Oh, I love this crock pot. I bought multiple crock pots that had 3 crock pots together." I said, "Oh, just keep them. We host over here anyway." And so it was like, this big deal of like, "Oh, I have all your crock pots." I'm like, "We host here anyway. Who cares? My plates, my bowl, it's all up for grabs. I don't care." But if you have a partner that does, I can't even imagine having order in a system that I'm running where I'm like, everything goes out the door, no big. If I need it back, I'll come and borrow it. And having someone who feels so differently about that, Well,
that's when you learn. That's part of the learning phase of like the compatibility.
Yes. Sure.
It's all these little things that kind of add up to the big thing, and you eventually work through them, and you go like, okay, it's now not a big deal for me if people borrow dishes because I just know, okay, you're kind of keeping track of it. Your family's keeping track of it. I'm going to take that one off my mental plate. Even though I spent a lot of money on that crock pot, I got to let it go.
I say have a locking cabinet with all of your favorite crockery in there. And put out the other crockery.
Yeah. Forget the gun safe. We have a crockery safe now.
We may have a different title for this episode now.
Yeah.
Okay, our next question comes from Elena in Virginia. It says, my husband's family has very different core values than we do when it comes to discipline and screen time for our kids. Whenever we visit them, his siblings and parents completely undermine our rules, calling us too strict right in front of our children. When I ask my husband to step in, he tells me to let it go for the weekend to keep the peace. How do I get my partner to see his blind spot and stand as a united front with me?
As a pregame.
Right.
That's a pregame.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. So what do you think that conversation is rolling into the in-laws?
You know that we don't necessarily have alignment with this. We have to have a pregame conversation because inevitably it's going to happen. And what do we do? So in my opinion, you have that conversation. And is that conversation days before, right before you walk in the door? I probably wouldn't wait that long. You want to get in front of it and say, hey, we have to come up with a decision here and how we're going to work with the parents on this. Because I don't know, at the end of the day, it's like there are children. Like, this is like how we want to do it. But we have to come to some sort of agreement. I don't know. What's your take, Jeremy?
So there's a lot that's in this question, and one of them is very different values, and that can mean a lot of different things. And this husband is obviously not excited about the idea of standing up to his family of origin. And so this is either some sort of enmeshment, this is some sort of codependency or something like this. And so it's easy. I think when we talk about, we need to have a conversation ahead of time. Yes. But I think this particular husband is having a hard time with the concept of standing up to his family overall. And it might be a situation where you have to go, I'm going to pick my battles here. The rules are different at grandma's house, and we're going to put up with 4 days of pouting and tantrums when we come home from grandma's house because they get all the candy and screen time that they want. It's an unpleasant thing, but it might also be something that is a really difficult battle to fight. And how nasty does it actually get? Does he begin to become deeply defensive of them? Does he feel that you look down on his family? Does it create resentment with him? Is this a therapeutic issue? Are you creating a larger problem by enforcing the good rules that you have in the home? I think the math on this is complicated, and I think that you have to kind of figure out where your win is in this, because this is thoroughly unacceptable that the family doesn't respect that you don't want your kids addicted to brain junk, but also it might be a losing game for you to die on that hill.
Yeah, I think about a couple things here. Number one, I'm not a parent, but I do have a dog. That's halfway there. It's 50%.
Yes.
As I'm training my dog to sit and come and stay and all the things, if that process is interrupted, it kind of creates a problem where now you have to reset with the dog training. And to some extent, in my opinion, if someone's interrupting the training of a child, it's a confusing time for a young child if they're getting different expectations. And so it's like the thing that comes to my mind is, let's have a conversation with the grandparents about why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if I can get it through their head that this is important, this isn't just like, oh, they can't have chocolate and, oh, blah, blah. Like, grandparents, this is why I'm doing this. I've read this research. I have a plan. And every time they go over to your house, my plan is ruined. And I have days upon days or whatever of resetting them back to the plan. It's kind of like what co-parenting deals with. It's a very similar thing. And they come back in a frenzy, and I have to get them back to a state where they're now my child again. And can I just have a conversation with you about why I think this is important? Maybe I don't get all what I want, but maybe I get a little bit. But let's meet in the middle a little bit, and we come up with a plan together, because I think this is really important for my own child's development. And then you could just tell crazy jokes like, you gave me way too much TV time when I was a child, and I'm crazy now because of you. And I've learned from that, and now this is what I'm putting in place for the next generation.
No, I agree. I think Elena needs to take this one to the grandparents rather than to the husband, because I think he's probably feeling defensive about, defending his family and maybe his mom wanting to give the kids more movie time and candy or something along those lines that aren't, it's not going to be beneficial when you go back to real life. But I think you're barking up the wrong tree. I think you go straight to grandma or whoever's running the show. But I'd be surprised if it isn't grandma. It's grandma. Yeah. And
Grandma's just watching like World War II documentaries. He doesn't even know what the hell's going on. You got it, kiddo.
So true. So true. I think I dealt with this many years ago with co-parenting, and it was an interesting place for me to find contentment because I really didn't have any control. My kids spent half the week with their dad and really the grandparents, and it was a totally different dance over there. And I just had to let go of like, look, things aren't going to go the way that I would like them to go. I'm going to have a kid in a bottle forever. I'm going to have a kid that's not potty trained on the time frame that I would like. These things are out of my control. I can only get to control half the week. And
I think the funny thing is most parents have already given up and they're just like, watch the tablet. I don't care. The world's falling apart. Who cares?
So well, and I know even in my own life, I used to be much more judgmental about those parents until I had young foster children and started over. And I thought, I didn't have tablets when my kids were little. They weren't running around with this. Now that that's an option, heck yeah, we're using it to go out together.
It reminds me of like a new parent friend of mine years ago. And she's like, I'm going to do only cloth diapers. I'm going to clean all of them. I think it's important. It was like a month in. She was like, I can't do it.
I've heard this song before. Yeah.
So what is your take? Are you against my rebuttal, Jeremy?
I think this is a very difficult problem. I also think that is there a creative solution where you can think around these people? Can you become involved in grandma time enough that you're helping the kids be less interested in their screens and more interested in a fun activity with you? It's a tall order, but can you have big wheel races? Remember big wheels? Are you kidding me? They make them for adults. I totally want one. Nice. Can there be some activity outside that gets them, like a water balloon fight, that gets them actually moving their bodies? Can you be actively involved in that? Because grandmas are very powerful people.
I don't know when the last time you guys had a water balloon fight was, but so much fun. We did this last weekend for a birthday party. I was cleaning up water balloons for about an hour and 45, but so worth it. So fun.
The digital version just doesn't add up.
And neither do the reusables. Those are crap. Just forget about it. Don't buy them. The grenade old ones that you can fill really full that hurt when they get you in the face, those are the ones. Those are the ones you want to get for your water balloon party with your family. So much fun.
We are getting some good, solid info on this one. Here are the right balloons for I love it.
Okay, our last question comes from Brandon in Houston. He says, every single holiday, my extended family expects us to host, cook, and pay for a massive dinner. But no one helps out. No one offers to chip in. It's become exhausting, expensive obligation rather than an enjoyable tradition. Last month, I told them we wanted to do something different just for our immediate household this year. And now my sisters are frozen treating me. I'm assuming that he's been frozen out and calling me selfish. Am I wrong for drawing a line in the sand, or is their reaction proof that the boundary was necessary? I'm going with proof that your boundary was necessary. If you are not enjoying this, and I did this dance for many, many years for all of my family, and I loved it. I loved doing it. I had a lot of stepkids, and I worked around their mom's schedule, and I loved every minute of doing 2 holidays so that I could be the host. But if you are not absolutely loving it and you're feeling like this is an obligation rather than fun, then you are right to set the boundary, Brandon, because that's no way to go through holidays every year. What's the take for you guys? This is going to come back to crockery for Jeremy. I know it.
Yep.
So I'm
crock of shit.
I'm personally acquainted with this specific thing, and when it comes to family or putting on a barbecue for a large number of people, it can never be for them. It has to be for you. And you have to do it because you enjoy it. And oftentimes, when you are the person in the family who has the resources, who has the space, who has the home, and you put on a beautiful party, you feed everybody, everybody's drinking on you, it's a whole thing. And then you experience these indications of a lack of gratitude or a lack of respect. It can drive you insane. It can really make you resentful and angry, because you can give so much, and then the charge is, well, you just think you're so rich and special, and you go, I cared about everybody, that's why I did this. And so you can't control the way that people feel about you, whether they like you, whether they dislike you. They'll always show up and drink your beer.
Sure.
And so you have to do it for you. Do you like having this large group of people? Can you put up with the fact some of them are rude and have no manners, and you just realize it's just the way that they are? Or are you sick of them and you want to do your own thing? Because just like this gentleman found out, you're going to find out real quick whether they appreciated you or whether they expect you to give to them. And if whether they expect you to give to them or not, you have to be doing this on your terms for you. Because if you're expecting people to openly respect you and give deference to you and everything like that because of all you've given, you're kind of living in a fairy tale land. So whether you want to do it or not, it's got to be what you want to do. And it sounds like you don't want to do it anymore. Do it for your own family, because your family, your extended family, they were just talking crap about you anyway. You just know about it now.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I think there's a small gap too, and possibly the conversation that was either had or maybe omitted, is there's the feeling and then what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in between there, have you ever talked with your extended family again why you're doing this? So if they don't know, like, oh, like we've had this expectation year after year after year of you doing this amazing thing for us, and now we're excited because, you know, this next year it's coming up, and all of a sudden you say, oh, we're going to just have a kind of a small thing. If you're not letting them know, you know, hey, this is something that's happened and it's becoming kind of an obligation, it's becoming challenging, and it's becoming expensive, and they're not even looped in, you know, part of me is like, one, they could be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I'm going to contribute. I want to help. You could actually get support from the family because they weren't even looped into your private thoughts or conversations with your partner. Or they're like the worst people in the world. And they're like, oh, well, why are you being selfish? You know, whatever. And then it's like, well, I don't care if you're family or not. If I tell you my thoughts and feelings and this is how you're treating me, I'm glad I made this decision. Like, blood or not, like, I can't keep doing this, and you just feel it's something that you're owed. Get out of here.
Yeah. Because obligations can feel icky, but I'm with you guys. Like, if it's something that you're in for you, like, you love being able to host this stuff, and you love being able to be the one that has the room and the ability to go pick up all of the, you know, barbecue stuff or whatever it is that you're doing, making that amount of mashed potatoes and setting a great table. Like, if you enjoy that, you should do it. But you're right, it's for you. It's not really for everybody else.
Mm-hmm. No, it's absolutely the case. I threw a big barbecue for a number of years one time, and there was one guy who would get out of control, always get way drunk.
I'm sorry. Jeez, I didn't think we were going to talk about this.
And so what Derek did at the end of the bar, I got into an argument with him. He takes his beer bottle, he throws it against the side of my trailer, and it shatters.
Jeez.
And I brought this trailer full of the barbecue, the coolers, the tables, the pop-ups, the food, the beer, everything. It was all packed up in there. dude just throws a bottle against the side of the trailer because I was like, why don't you keep it down? We're right across the street from the police station. I'd really not like to talk to a cop tonight. And that's what I got, is glass all over the place.
That sucks. He's out of the will.
Done. You are not invited next year.
Well, I mean, that's maybe booze, you know, people get a little crazy, but it's like, yeah, you eventually just go like, I don't want that person around. They're just not worth it. They can't even contain, you know, their liquor. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation. We'll have that one down the road. I'm sure of it.
Or maybe next week. I was just thinking with like, we get so many good questions. I think I'm going to start doing announcements Monday, Tuesday. See what people are thinking for the week to follow on what questions they want answered. Because you're right. That is absolutely a big one. I've been a no alcohol house for many, many years, and that has caused many waves, especially while I was hosting. You know, people, what do you mean I can't drink? I'm like, no, you're going to be here we're doing brunch. You needed alcohol. We're at brunch. Like,
yeah, I've been at a Thanksgiving gathering where like two brothers were massively drinking and got into a fist fight. I'm just like, what's going on here? Gotta go.
You guys have those questions for next week. We want them. We want them. Well, yeah. As always, a pleasure to have you both. You guys everyone should tune in to these podcasts, Mindful Mutiny podcast and the Culture podcast. They're both everywhere you can find a podcast. And message over if you'd like to get the email links for these. I love that you guys send these out through email every week, and I'm always excited to listen to the new topics that you're hosting each and every week. So great podcast, everybody should tune into. All right.
Yeah, thanks for having me on this conversation once again. It's always a pleasure.
All right. It's always great having you both. I love getting you guys every Tuesday. All right. Well, until next week, we see you soon.